This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're back at the Landmark Hotel. We've got a big bill on July 10th, but before we discuss that, I do want to discuss the weekend. I want to talk about two wins. I'm going to talk about Jeremiah Ponce first, your man beating Lewis Eriksen. Before we talk about the actual win, what did you make of Steve Gray ignoring the towel when it coming for Eriksen?
Well, look, the referee at the end of the day, it's his decision. I can remember a long time ago, I'm always sort of referring to this when I started, I can remember a towel being thrown in the ring and a referee stops a fight, but it wasn't a trainer who did it. Well, someone just threw a towel, someone got a towel and did it. So, but the point about it was, obviously his father was in the corner and he trains him as well, so that's how he felt and he did the right thing. I think Steve should have stopped it by then anyway, to be quite honest. It should have been stopped, but it was what it was. I remember, and I also remember a couple of years ago, Mickey Van, somebody a corner threw a towel in. I can't remember the particular fight, and Mickey threw the towel back out and the guy knocked him out. So, that's what the referees are there for, to make a decision. Sometimes they get it right, sometimes wrong. I think in that particular instance, he got it wrong. Thankfully, they weren't head shots he was getting caught with, they were body shots.
Yeah, just a word on your man's victory there, Jeremiah Ponce, announcing himself to the UK and well boxing there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tremendous win. My son Francis put the deal together with him, and we're delighted he's on board with Queensbury. And he made a bit of a statement, didn't he, in his debut. And now he's the IBF mandatory challenger to Josh. So,
you've got a couple of mandatories for Josh.
Yeah, so we got, there should be, those fights should be difficult to make down the road. So we're looking forward to them.
And the other win I want to talk about was England getting their revenge over Croatia. What do you make of England's performance at the Euros? Well,
it's the first time, isn't it, in the Euro that we won an opening match, apparently, so I'm told. It's good. They did what they had to do. I mean, there's a lot of dispute whether he should have played the team, whether he should have put Sterling in. And a lot of people didn't fancy him to be in there, but he went out, Raheem Sterling, and done the business. So that's a win and got the points in a tough group. So hopefully we'll come through.
And also, Frank, I think we have to mention, fortunately, we've seen Christian Eriksen post a photo today from hospital saying that he's okay now. Just a terrible thing to witness as a sportsman, as a human being, what happened with him.
Well, it's dreadful. I mean, it was. Everybody obviously was very, very concerned, and it looked terrible. Well, it was terrible, but it looked, it was going to be a little bit worse than it's turned out to be. So thankfully, the end of the day, he's making a recovery, and I'm sure everybody in sport wishes him well. And hopefully, who knows, he may be able to play football again.
Absolutely. Okay, July 10th, we have two light heavyweights in action. The one next to me doesn't feature, unfortunately. A bit of a hand injury's picked up. So, firstly, start with Callum Johnson. Do you think we can see him potentially out kind of back end of the summer, Frank?
Yeah, definitely. It's a shame because as we mentioned earlier, we wanted to get the three of the guys out in one show. It wasn't to be, but he will be out sometime in the autumn or the end of summer, I hope. So I'm looking forward to seeing him back in there. I mean, he had a tremendous fight, didn't he? His first fight with us. I mean, it was like that was edge of your seat stuff, and done a brilliant job. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him back in.
And the two light heavies that do feature, of course, are Anthony Yard and Lyndon Arthur. Just quickly talk to me about their opponents, Frank, respectively.
Well, they're both fighting undefeated opponents, Atra and Friatri, and they can't afford to take their eye off the ball. Lyndon's ranked number one there in the WBO. He's the mandatory to Joe Smith, and he certainly can't afford to slip up now. And I'm thinking, I'm quite sure that he will be, very focused. Both of them will be, knowing that they can't afford to make any mistakes. It's a big moment for him, topping the bill at the Albert Hall, and I'm sure he's going to go out and do the business and show everybody what he's about. And it's the same for Anthony. Anthony came off at a loss. A lot of things were said at the time, but he's accepted it, and now he's got to move on and move forward. And him and Tundi have brought on board James, and James is he's a very, very good fighter, British European champion, fought some of the best British fighters out there at the time, best middleweights, and so James should make a good addition to the team, and hopefully give him some more ammunition as he prepares for his trying to get himself back into that number one spot which he held.
Okay, so we are back at the Royal Albert Hall with fans, but how many, Frank? Because obviously we had the announcement from Boris Johnson that the 21st of June restrictions drop will now go to the 21st of July. So what the situation with tickets?
Well, we're very disappointed with that for obvious reasons. We was hoping we could have a full house. Not to be at the moment. What we are doing, we are getting in touch with the culture department and asking them. We have had that dialogue with them in the past. We're asking them if they would treat it the same as they've done at Wimbledon and they've done with the Euros. At Wimbledon, they're allowing full capacity for the tennis and they're allowing 50% for the Euros. So we would like it to be seen as a test event at the Albert Hall. We had an event a couple of weeks ago where we had 1,000 people there, which was great to get some people there, but we want to get back to full capacity like everybody does. And we put a show together based upon the financial, what we've received financially from a full capacity audience, and it was a bit of a blow last night. Having said that, you know, that health comes before everything, and I know it's frustrating for everybody, but it is what it is. So, you know, we'll work hard to see what we can do to get, you know, at least more people in there than they're saying at the moment.
Are you confident that they could move that to a test event?
No, I'm not. I'm not at all. You know, I hope they will. I mean, I don't see why boxing should be treated any different than Wimbledon or football for that matter. There's no reason for it to be treated differently.
And if it isn't a test event, how many can we have in 1,000? Is that correct?
It is. So that's going to be tough, and we're going to have to look at how we're going to deal with that.
Okay. Well, in terms of Lyndon and Anthony, touch wood, they both come through their fights on July 10th. Do we get that rematch next?
Yeah, that's what everybody was up for. That's what we're about. So they've got to come through, and then we will do that in the autumn.
Okay, and Callum Johnson referred to earlier, he'd be waiting in the wings a little bit there. If Joshua Buatsi comes through his next fight against Richard Bolotniks, which is a tough fight for him, but if he comes through, will you guys be trying to get Joshua Buatsi and Callum to get in the ring on BT Sport?
I'd love that to happen. I mean, they're fights that the fans want to see, and we want to see them. I mean, you know, I keep saying it. Even if somebody gets beat, it's not the end of their career. It's not the end of the world. They're just great fights that should be made. And we don't want to, we want to see them happen. We've got 3 extremely good world-class heavyweights with us, and there's one over there with Matchroom. Why should we be trying to do that between us? It makes a lot of sense.
Okay, moving on, Frank, in terms of TV talk, I know we've discussed it quite a lot, but we'll ask you, Sky announced their deal with Toprank. Last time I spoke to you, you said that we need Sky Sports in boxing. Obviously, you had an output deal with Toprank, so just talk to me about that situation, how they've done the deal with them and why BT haven't carried on their relationship with Toprank.
Well, our output deal ended with Toprank a while ago, so that's not just happened. Toprank have obviously seen... Since Matchroom moved, they've obviously moved in there and done a deal for their overseas rights, which is great for people who want to see any boxing from Matchroom events in the States. That's great. We'll just continue doing obviously what we do with BT. We have a contract. We've still got a lot of time left on that contract, and delivering the events like we're doing on the 10th of July and the one we're going to announce tomorrow on the 24th of July.
With this whole shake-up with Matchroom going to the Zone and now Toprank being their shows being broadcasted on Sky, this is just brilliant for everyone involved, surely, in terms of the managers, the trainers, the promoters, the fighters, the fan, because obviously budgets are going to have to rise for everyone, so we're going to get better fights, aren't we, Frank?
Well, what it's great for, it's great for the fans. That's what it's all about. I mean, that's all we always said. I mean, competition is what it's all about. I mean, when I got into boxing, that's what their problem was. There was no competition. And it was about competition was healthy, and I managed to, establish myself and actually create some competition and open the door for other promoters to be involved in boxing. So I'm delighted, and I'm delighted for British boxing, British sport. We need platforms. We need to keep boxing out there. We need to make it a relevant sport, and the fact that Sky, Dazn, and certainly in my case BT have shown such great commitment to the sport speaks volumes of how much they value it.
Okay, so just to clear something up as well, I think it's been addressed already, but obviously their deal with Sky and Toprank has nothing to do with Tyson Fury. That is a separate deal, and he stays on BT Sport.
Absolutely nothing to do with them at all.
Just to clear that up for some fans who are asking questions.
Tyson Fury has nothing to do with Tyson Fury TV appearances have nothing to do with that deal at all.
Well, he's got a press conference tonight with Deontay Wilder from the States. That could get a little bit lively.
It's going to be. I'm sad I can't be there, but I'm not going to go into reason. Well, I will tell you. I had a little bit of an issue come up with the COVID. Someone been in contact with me, so that caused a little bit of so that was a bit of a problem. Anyway, it is what it is. So it's going to be a bit lively. You can imagine it'll be lively with Mr. Fury. He's not so shrinking violet, and I'm sure he'll make his presence felt there today.
It should be good viewing. Any news on his brother Tommy? Do you think he'll be back out soon?
We're looking at a couple of situations at the moment. I spoke with John and Mick Carney and Francis, who are involved with him, as to what we're going to do moving forward, and I hope that's going to be sorted out fairly soon.
Just to go back to the network situation, I did want to ask you, just out of interest. Obviously, you had experience of launching a purely boxing service with BoxNation. Obviously, your sons were heavily involved with that as well. I know Dazn show other sports as well, but they haven't got Premier League rights, Champions League rights, or any other kind of major UK sports at the moment. So boxing is their driving force for the UK. What would you say the biggest challenge was with having a boxing subscription service? What do you think will be the biggest challenge for Dazn?
Well, for us, the biggest challenge was getting subscribers to start with, but we managed to do that. I mean, at one stage we had 300,000 subscribers, which is a huge amount, and we did that. You know, we were like a pimple on a rhinoceros' arse, up against Sky at the time, and it was tough. I'd left Sky to do that. I left a year before my contract ended with them. They made a decision. What's their challenge? They got to deliver great fights. They deliver great fights. People are buying into it. What I'd be interested to see is how long they can hold their price at $1.99. That's going to be the challenge, because there's no way financially that model works. But it's not my concern at the end of the day. It's their business, and they've got an owner in Salem Blavnik, who's a very, very, very wealthy guy. It's just how much money he wants to keep pumping into it, because that's really what it's about. How much does he want to keep pumping in? We never made a profit for a long time. We continually put investors' money and our money into it, and lost a lot of money in doing so. And he's done the same thing. I think his first year or second year, it was the biggest loss of any British startup in history, and he lost $1.5 billion on the first year. So that it's tough. It's not going to be easy, but they do have a benefactor there in Salem. So he's a very astute businessman, and obviously he's got a plan, and I'm quite sure he'll keep putting his hand in his pocket to ensure that it works until it actually stands up on its own 2 feet.
Okay, I want to ask you about a couple of heavyweights that you have. Daniel Dubois with a good win last time against Bogdan. Has there been any movement regarding the WBA situation in the Trent McBride fight?
We are lobbying him at the moment and pushing for him to get the next fight to be for that title. So we are actually in contact with the WBA, trying to get that over the line.
Also, Joe Joyce, I'm not going to reveal the news. It's going to come out tomorrow, but he will be back on BT Sport very, very soon.
He will be, and we'll be announcing him tomorrow. I'm looking forward to seeing Joe in action. He's been, it's been very frustrating for him and for us, or for everybody along. But it's all dependent on what was happening with Tyson and with AJ, and that's finally now all been resolved. Not to everybody's satisfaction, by the way, but it's resolved, and that now leaves Joe's, the way forward for Joe. And as I say, we've moved very quickly, and we'll be announcing his fight and his opponent tomorrow. Yeah,
I'm sure we'll be discussing that one tomorrow. What's the situation as well for Nathan Gorman? Brilliant win against Pavel Soa last time. Do you think this could be a big year for Nathan? What's the plans for him?
Well, I hope it is. We're working very hard, and I don't want to actually state what we've done yet, but I want him out on that same show. He looked fantastic last time out. He's really, he's a good fighter. He's a very, very good fighter. And I know I'll probably boring old git, keep saying the same thing again, but a loss is not the end of the world for a fight. It's how you come back, what you learn from. And, he's come back from his fight with Daniel Dubois, and he's looked really good in both those fights. Done extremely well. And we just want to keep him busy now.
Just a quick couple of ones on fighters that we haven't really heard any news on. So your likes of Willie Hutchinson, Denzel Bentley, Liam Williams, who unfortunately came up short in their last fights. Do you think they'll be back out soon? Have you had any kind of conversations with any of them?
I've spoken to both Martin and Tony Bowers regarding Denzel, and I've also spoken to Shelley Fingal regarding Willie, and we're working on them now.
And Liam Williams, Felix Cash, I know you spoke about that after Felix's win against Denzel. Is that likely to happen, Frank?
Well, I hope the Boxing Board of Control call it. If they call it, it'll happen, or he'll vacate, one of the two.
Brilliant fight, that's a banger.
Great fight. I hope that. Well, listen, Felix Cash didn't vacate, as everybody said he was going to do against Denzel. So, not vacate, pull out the fight. And I hope that he will take the challenge of Liam. As you say, great fight. What a great fight for the fans.
Absolutely. And also, Hamza Shiraz been out in America on the Joe Goosens gym out there. Haven't heard any news on Hamza. What's happening with him, Frank?
You'll hear some news tomorrow.
Okay, brilliant. Well, listen, I'll catch up with you in about 24 hours then, Frank.
You certainly will. Absence and make the heart grow fonder.
Thank you.